Hi there, thank you for joining me. So today I would like to do some additional maintenance and upgrading to my PlayStation 4. As of the filming of this video, I have not yet uploaded my previous video, but by the time you see this, you should have seen my cleaning of the PlayStation 4. So I got it all nice and clean. It's been working great. I've been playing Dragon Quest 11 on it, and everything is fine, so I'm very pleased with that. So I have decided to get a better hard drive for the system. You know, I'm not planning to get a PlayStation 5 right now. I'm not planning to get a PlayStation 4 Pro, and you know, in contrast to when this first came out 8 years ago, an upgraded drive that is, you know, objectively much better than what they put in this is relatively affordable. So this was like 60 bucks. I was able to get a 1 terabyte drive, which is twice the storage capacity of the drive in here, which is 500 gig. And it's also an SSHD, so it is a hybrid drive. So it has some solid state storage on it that it uses as a cache. And then it writes to the drive just normally like a regular drive platter. But I'm hoping that we'll see, in addition to a larger storage capacity, we'll also see some improved performance in things like load times or the time that it takes to save files, like, you know, a new game install, for instance. Additionally, I would like to replace the battery. I don't know exactly what the battery on that motherboard is used for, but I believe it's just keeping the time, basically. But I realized, you know, that battery's been in there for 8 years, so some new 2032, you know, disc style lithium batteries is going to be a good idea. These ones are supposed to be good until, this says 2019 on it, and I believe they have a date of use by March of 2030. So I think that that'll be a good upgrade to just make sure that that battery that's already in there doesn't fail before I'm ready to, you know, retire the system, if ever. And the final thing I'm going to do is clean the rollers on the Blu-ray drive. An issue that I did have with the system previously, which I didn't address when I cleaned it, was that discs would go in and out of the system properly, but they would kind of jerk a little bit going in. I did a little bit more research on that, and that tends to just be that the rollers are dirty. Now, I actually, between the filming of the last video and this one, opened the system up again and actually cleaned those rollers. But I chickened out a little bit, and I didn't like take the rollers out and fully clean them. I just kind of cleaned where I could see them, because they honestly didn't look that dirty. But when I went and tried using it again, it still skips just a little bit coming out of the system. It's actually better than it was, but as long as I'm opening it up, I would like to fully address those rollers. Okay, so as you can see, I have disassembled this down to the Blu-ray drive, and if I remember correctly, we need to take out these screws here, just holding this assembly on there. And I actually had to get out a set of you know, smaller screwdrivers here. Yeah, these are just small. So we're going to go ahead and take these out. And I believe this is just going to lift off at that point. It's kind of held under the corner here, that plastic just slides out. And there we are. So now that we have access to this, of course, you know, we can re-clean it out here. And you may or may not be able to see, but I've, you know, pretty well cleaned this. But let's just take these out. I believe that we can just kind of get right in here and just lift them out, right? I don't know what I was afraid of before. I don't think that there is a particular direction you need to put this back into. It's just going to slide into these and lock in them, and then it's a bridge so that they both turn, right? When this one turns too. So, you know, set this aside, and I want to clean all around these now, unlike I did last time, and it's clearly going to help. Like I said, these didn't look too dusty to me, but they are. And when you just do a little cleaning, same thing I did before, I'm going to use a little alcohol, a little cotton swab, and this will make a huge difference. Okay, I don't know if you can see that one, but there's definitely a bit of dust on that. We're gonna pop this one out carefully again. You know, this one is actually attached to. Oh, actually, I wonder, can you take this one out? Okay, that does come out just fine. It slides over this little gear here. You may need to be careful not to, you know, that gear doesn't move out of place, for instance. But let's go ahead. I'm gonna get just a little more alcohol, and we'll continue cleaning this. Oh yeah, definitely. I soaked that with a bit more alcohol, and you can see it's really taking off. I don't know exactly where is best to see this from, but yeah, it's really taking off a lot. So I'm going to just kind of re-hit this other one a bit here. So yeah, these were much more gunk covered than it appeared to the naked eye. So now I'm going to go ahead and put this back together. Okay, we're just gonna, it just kind of slides in here, and then we've got to slide it into the other, whoops, the other one here. There we go. You just kind of have to get them at the right angle, and they're gonna slide in, go into, there's a bit of a hole there that slides into, and then those are good. So we can see, yeah, everything is secure. So let's go ahead and reassemble this, and we're going to move on to the next item on our list. So this is the easiest, but probably the most impactful part of this, which is going to be replacing the hard drive. So I've just flipped this over, taken this cover off, and so we're going to go ahead and use our Phillips to take out this single screw here. Alright, now one thing I have done is I did, make sure that all of my save data was uploaded to my PlayStation Plus cloud storage. If you don't have that, you could use a USB stick and save all of your saved data to that. Now that does not include my game installs. I will have to like reinstall my games, but I want my, you know, my save data. I also deactivated this as my primary PlayStation 4. I don't know if I had to do that, but I read somewhere that somebody said they had trouble, like once they switched their hard drive and like reinstalled the system on it, then telling it that this was its new primary PlayStation 4, because it still thought like the system on the old hard drive was the primary PlayStation 4. So I've deactivated this as my primary PS4. So we're going to take this out. We're swapping it for that. We just need to take these screws out here. Now, in addition to those preparations, and this isn't a guide on how to do this, but you can go to Sony's site and you just get like that. Basically it's like their update your PlayStation 4, you know, software site, but you're going to be downloading a file as if you were reinstalling it, and you're going to read the directions on there. Basically it's really quite simple. You just make a folder on your USB drive that is formatted FAT32 and has at least 1.1 gigs of free space on it. Oops. And you're going to, I'm trying to like be gentle and not touch this a bunch with my hands, but I'm going to need to touch it with my hands. Just get out of there. And so you make a folder in it called PS4 all caps. You make a folder inside that called update all caps, and then you download the file into that. So I did that. It's on a USB stick, and what we're going to do you'll see at the end of this video. So here's our new drive. Hopefully I haven't like put my fingers all over something important and like shorted something out, but I think it's fine. So a 1 terabyte drive. It's not faster in terms of the spindle speed, right? I think it's 5400 RPM or something like that. Okay, there we go. But it is a hybrid drive, so we should see a significant performance improvement. And I mean, you know, performance on that, it's not going to be like the games play better, right? It's just like you're going to wait a few less seconds for things to load and that type of thing. So I think that is worth, it's certainly worth $60 for the extra storage capacity and the extra performance together. I think that's kind of a no-brainer, especially if I'm going to, you know, continue to use this PS4 here for a little while into the future. One thing I didn't mention, but as I was sliding this into here, it is a thicker, physically thicker drive than this. This bay will not support anything thicker than, I think, 9.5 millimeters. It has to be in millimeters, I'm sure. So just be cognizant of that. I made sure to get something that was, you know, the right size to fit in there. It is a tighter fit than this is, because I think this is like, whatever, 7 millimeters or something like that. I don't know if it actually says on it, but it is a very narrow profile on this drive. So there is the hard drive. We'll pick that back up once I plug the system in. Let's go ahead and change that battery. Okay, so just to note, I wanted to point out that I removed this again, and all of these little heat pads for these, I don't know, RAM chips or whatever these are actually stuck to this this metal plate this time. So that's convenient, and it's kind of funny, you know, that we really have to like disassemble this as far down as we are, just to replace that one battery. But I think I would like to do that as long as I'm like getting into the system. Also, we did plug that hard drive back in last time, but of course I had to unplug it so that we can get to this. But anyway, so now that we've done that, I think this is actually free. Yeah. So we're gonna lift it up and we're gonna pull it out from the front here, so those back ports come free, and there we are. Now we can see how our actually I probably don't want to be careful about the metal there, but we can see how our thermal paste, you know, seems to have had applied fine. In fact, I might have even used a little more than I needed. But here's the battery that we're going to replace. So is this actually loose now? No, it's down. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to get that bit of foam again, and we're going to use that. Like I said, it's probably not anti-static, but I just can't imagine that we're really going to static this too badly. To pop this battery out. There we go. Okay. So here's our battery, a CR2032 3-volt, made in Indonesia, Panasonic. I'm sure it's fine. It's still keeping time or whatever it is that it needs to do. But like I said, as long as we're in here and we're doing this, let's just replace it all. I'm not going to have to worry about, you know, hey, what about when this goes wrong or something. It'll all have been maintained at basically the same time, and then, you know, from there, when I need to maintain it again, I can do that. So here we have our new battery. Peel the back off of it and slide it in like that and snap it in. It's super easy. There we go. This is, you know, relatively fresh thermal paste. It was just from like a few days ago. So there's that. I just cleaned up the edges, and I'm going to apply a little bit more, not as much as I did last time. there's still a little bit on that. There's still a little bit on the kind of the heatsink side, but I'm just gonna do another little dab here in the middle. I think that is fine. Alright, and that should be it. So what I'm going to do now, put everything back together, go switch to the other room, and we'll get this system started up, and we'll see you know, how things are going. Alrighty, so so the PlayStation is plugged back in and the USB stick is inserted in the front. You can't see that, but you're just going to have to take my word for it. What I'm going to do is, I guess, turn the TV on. And I will hold the power button for 7 seconds as I turn it on. And that should give us the option of booting into safe mode. Okay, so I followed the directions and just plugged my DualShock in. So it says connect a USB storage device that contains the update file for reinstallation, which is in there. So we'll hit OK. So I think this is going to do what we want. I just wasn't having any trouble. The directions that I read said to like hold the power button for 7 seconds until it beeps a second time. I just never really got there. In fact, I wasn't able to turn the system on by hitting the power button initially. I actually turned it on with the DualShock. So whatever was up with that, hopefully that's not an issue with the power button. I can maybe look into that a little bit more. The eject button works fine, so I don't think that's an issue, but it might be. So anyway, let's see if this goes ahead and updates. Basically, in this case, just installs a clean install of the PlayStation 4 OS on the new hard drive. Okay, so we are at a like a partial state of success with with this maintenance. So the hard drive has gone fine. It did in fact install the update from the USB. I was able to download my save games from the cloud. You know, I re-logged into my account. You of course, if you do this yourself, you're gonna need to remember like your Wi-Fi password and your login for PlayStation Network and all that good stuff. But yeah, I was able to get everything set up, so things are going pretty well. I did look up on that power switch issue, and it does seem like there is a bit of metal on the case that is related to the power button, and like in the back of my mind, I kind of suspected. I was like, I wonder if that little piece of metal maybe is important for that, and it is. So you have to make sure that you get it put back into place properly. It's possible that I haven't done that when I've put this PlayStation 4 back together. So we're going to try to get that power button working again. Additionally, when I tried to put a disc in, I had some issues. So what I'm thinking is that I may have also had some issues with the reassembly of the Blu-ray drive after I cleaned those rollers. So I guess I was right to be a little cautious about wanting to like pull those rollers all the way out, clean them really well, and put them back in. I don't think that was a bad thing because they really needed it. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull that Blu-ray drive out again, try to get that fixed, and we'll try to get that power button working again, and then we're going to be 100% back. So let's keep on trucking. Okay, so we are back into the drive here, and I immediately see what the issue is. I'm like 99% sure that I know what's going on here. So I don't know if you can see, if we can get this to focus, but there's a very small gear here in the I don't know, you can probably see it from there, maybe if it's focusing. So there's a very small white gear there, and that actually threads into a white gear that's below it. And right now it's past that gear, and it's pressed up against the wall of this enclosure here. Now I was kind of wondering, I was like, well, what keeps it locked into that gear below it? That gear below it has like one side of it has, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's just like the tines of it are blocked on one side and not on the other. So where those tines are blocked is actually what keeps the tines on this one from slipping through. So I need to rejoin, remarry those two gears, and then this should be fine. So again, I don't know if you can see, but that gear is now on, like connecting with that other gear, and I've given the these another just little once over on that. And just to further clarify, especially if you have this issue or you're just trying to do this in the future, you can see that gear very clearly through this window in this assembly here. So that's how that should look when it's assembled properly. Okay, so I've reassembled this, and now we're taking a look at that issue with the power switch. Now you will notice the power switch is right here, and there is a piece of metal that connects to it. If you can see it there, but it got bent and damaged a little bit when I first took this off, and I kind of tried to place it back where I thought it was supposed to be. But what it does is it makes contact with this little pad. Bring this closer to the camera here. There's a small pad right there, and that is what that metal piece is supposed to make contact with. I wasn't, observing it closely, but it's clear to me now that that is supposed to be making contact with there. I actually did look it up, and that was stated to be the issue. So I guess this is probably pretty common when people take their systems apart, when you have to take this top off. And I think with mine, I just need to like bend it down a little bit, right? It's like bent up a little bit. So I'm just gonna do a little, physical, just mechanical work on this, just kind of bending it and trying to see if it's making contact with that pad when I put this back on. We're gonna go and try the power switch. We're gonna try putting a game in this. I think we're gonna get much better results. Okay, so here's our first moment of truth. I'm gonna use the power button to turn on the PlayStation 4. There we go. So, so my bending that piece of metal down was effective and successful at fixing that issue. Now we're going to go ahead and try putting a disc in here once this boots up. And so hopefully you can see that this also goes in smoothly. Let's go ahead and do this. Wonderful, I love it. Now this is going to install the game. Now, I'm not going to have a benchmark to compare this to, but I would like to see, how quickly this installs. It is going to have to download and update, so I probably won't, film all of that. But I'm going to hop into this game too, because I've been playing this recently. It's super fun, and yeah, I just want to see like my new hard drive doing what my new hard drive's going to do. But suffice to say, this was a highly successful update and maintenance. I would say that if you don't have a certain tolerance for things going wrong, you may want to avoid doing things like this. I think you're going to know your own temperament. This was not hard by any means, so I want to kind of impress upon people that this was all pretty simple. But between cleaning my PlayStation 4, installing a new hard drive, changing the battery, reapplying some thermal paste to the CPU, fixing issues with the discs, those rollers being dirty and all of that stuff, really was not a big deal. And when I had a couple little trip-ups, I just went and opened the PlayStation 4 again, looked to see if it was, essentially what I thought it might be, or just did a little research on the internet, being like, hey, what tends to be the issue if your power button isn't working or something. If you're somewhat confident in your own ability to figure things out too, that's definitely gonna help you out, right? Okay, so this is just for fun. I just want to load this up and see how quickly it loads. Again, I didn't record a basis for comparison, but so there we go. I do not know how long it used to take. I'm assuming that it is faster than it was, but at any rate, without a doubt, that extra space is going to be really nice. Double the space of what I had before. It's just convenient. You can have more games and DLC and junk on there. And like I said, this is gonna last me for a good long while now. So let me know if that was helpful for you guys at all. I don't know if you guys are planning to do any maintenance on your PlayStation 4, but I certainly decided that it was worth it for me right now, especially once I realized the system is 8 years old. You know, that I was starting to have some issues with it, certainly. It was running hot, and, you know, discs were skipping, like when they were coming in and out of the system, they were not coming in and out as smoothly as they could be, and things like that. So anyway, I hope you'll join me again next time. I do, you know, video game and anime and repair-related videos on occasion. Alright, take care.